I want to acknowledge I'm speaking to you today from the lands of the Gayamaygal people. I would like to extend my respect to elders past and present and any First Nations people watching. Sovereignty was never ceded. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Arlen.
Hello, currently I'm in Taekwondo, which is ruled by the Dish with One Spoon Treaty, which was supposed to be about sharing the land. And guess what? That is not what's happening. And that's not what's happening all over so-called Canada. So as I am here, I hold with respect and love all the people, nature, and the caretakers, and try and do my best to continue to give space and to talk about this. And also acknowledge that land acknowledgements are just land acknowledgements, and we just need to do the work on top of it. So to doing the work, yeah.
Absolutely, to doing the work. I completely agree. So hello everybody. My name is Ange, hopefully, as you know, and joining me today is the wonderful Arlen Aguayo-Stewart. We are going to talk a little bit about Motherland, a little bit just about life at the moment, and hopefully you enjoy this really sort of quick bonus of my usual content. What have you been up to since sort of we last saw you in Motherland? What's sort of been going on in your life?
What has been going on? Wow. Well, I went to a lovely fan convention and met so many lovely Motherland First Name fans and got to hang out with some of the cast, and we just had the best time.
That's awesome.
And then I traveled all over the place. I learned to surf, which was very exciting.
For when you come to Australia, clearly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know. My cousin in New Zealand was just like, you can surf here, just so you know. I know. I would be intimidated though. I feel like
Nope. I will
because
steal you when you come here and take you to the safe beaches, and you'll be fine.
okay, okay, good. Yes, please. So yes, lots of travel, just taking time to kind of like refresh and figure out your life, because we're always in some form of transition. So we're always growing. So trying to do a lot of that. And then kind of going all over the place, doing my taxes, which I
Yep.
so
Doing
many
human
reasons.
things.
Oh my God, it's worse. And working too, which is nice. And yeah, I never actually know what I can and what I can't say about projects, but
Yeah.
also promoting Rosie, which is a really lovely film that I super recommend for everyone to see. It's an important film. There is such a beautiful cast, particularly a little human being called Karis Pope, who is just yeah, someone to watch. So I've been soaking that up and doing everything to promote that, because I think it just needs to be seen everywhere.
I was fishing for that answer with this question.
Oh,
I
you
hope that
were?
you know that.
Were
Yes,
you?
I was.
Here you go.
I
I'm the fish. You've caught me. Here you
I've
go.
caught you. So if you could give just like a really quick little, rundown of what Rosie's about, that'd be awesome.
Okay. I have definitely read the synopsis everywhere, and hope I do a good job. Don't be mad at me, Rosie team. Um, it follows the story of a young little girl, an Indigenous girl who whose mother has passed and is now kind of been placed in Montreal, very different land, different language, lots of people that don't look like her, and ends up with this kind of like little misfit group of queer sex worker folk that don't have their lives together, and you kind of just see what happens. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. It'll touch you. There's so much joy in it. There's so much beauty, so much color, and it was made with so much love. And not only from the director, it stems from this beautiful director, Gayamaygal, is Nicte. But yeah, I just really recommend it, and you should see it.
And we need to support more films being made about Indigenous experiences and by Indigenous teams. Like
Yes.
When I've been watching, again, all of your promo, that's just what's been grabbing me.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, with all the tragedy
Yes.
that's been going on, I've seen in the news with Indigenous women, especially in Canada, we need to support and I don't know, especially from the other side of the world, all I can do is give my love that way. So I know I will
Yes.
definitely be seeing it, and I'm very excited,
Yes.
and everybody else should too. So
Also, this is just not only an Indigenous story, it's a queer Indigenous story made by queer Indigenous folks. Not only in front of the lens, but behind the lens in all capacities. So yeah,
we're
it's
keeping
great.
to a 30-minute time limit. As we
You're
know,
doing
me
great.
and
We're
Arlen
minutes.
are not good at doing that usually. So we're gonna zoom.
Yes.
So talking
So
about
many puns.
Motherland. Talking about Motherland, sort of what we got to
Mhm,
see from you in season 3. I'd sort of love to talk
mhm.
about a couple of key moments that we
Yeah.
got. The first, and probably honestly my favorite, was you taking out that helicopter, just bringing that helicopter to the ground. That was so cool. What was that sort of scene in that sequence like for you to film?
Oh my God, it was so fun. I don't think it really hit me because you read it in the script
Yeah.
and you're like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of helicopter. And then you do it on set and there's no obvious helicopter. You're just like there's a huge crane and lots of fans with wind.
Yeah.
And there's all of us and it's dark and it's raining and we all have to hit our spots and there's running into our spots and everything.
Mhm.
It's a lot of coordination, and we were also struggling because the weather and the lights weren't on our time. Like the factory, I think they like only had lights for a certain time. We were all like, so it was hectic. Um, but so much fun to have like wind like just blowing, and you're like, I'm doing something badass. And I was kind of like whispering some incantation, which is connected to like a poem that I used to hear when I was a little baby, but I made it badass. Yes,
Yes.
that was so fun. And then you watch it, and I was like, oh my God,
That
baby Arlen
was
dream.
it was so cool. And like you know me, I love action, and I love things that are,
Yes.
uh, intense but also really beautifully done, and that you can see the
Mm-hmm.
character in it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
explosions for explosion's sake is nothing, but like the fact that you saw so much of Nicte and like her rage in it, as
Mm,
well as she was bringing the helicopter down, I was like,
mm-hmm.
yes, she needs this. Like, she needs this for her soul.
Yes. Well, also to connect with the group, because at this point, Nick is not really being taken that seriously by
Yeah.
anyone except for Tally.
Mm.
And I think it is a moment of being like, no, I don't think that she's trying to prove herself. I mean, I think she's always trying to prove herself in some way,
Yeah.
but it does kind of, she gets noticed and being like,
Yeah.
oh, this person is an asset on our team, just flew up a helicopter,
Yeah.
no big deal. So, yeah, but yes, I think it is pivotal in that in that way too.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously we would have liked to see, you more throughout season 3 with
Hmm.
Nicte. We did get to see Nicte, in a different form, which was lovely,
Hmm.
but we saw you come back in the
Hmm.
final episode, and I think that everybody in the Batcave, everybody in the Told Discord would get quite mad at me if I did not ask you about the tree scene with Lynn.
Yes, please.
So sort of, it was such an important character scene, but also just a
Hmm.
very beautifully shot scene. Um,
Yeah.
I would love to just sort of know all of your thoughts about that scene, about the experience.
Well, I started Motherland like on screen with Lynn.
Yeah,
So I feel like it makes sense that I ended with Lynn
yeah,
too. And with my counterpart with Candace. And yeah, it was so beautiful. We were again, we are always kind of going for time, but what I really appreciate is that we were given the time with that scene,
yeah,
and we all were able to connect, all three of us, about what we were doing, where we were going. And I think I mentioned this before, but Candace and I didn't get the chance to like work together as much.
yeah,
And so on in that scene, it was just such a beautiful treat to be able to be like, where are you coming from? Where am I coming from? Where we're going? Because it just makes things make so much more sense
yeah,
for all of us. and for Lynn too. So it was just such a, like a beautiful full circle moment.
Yeah.
And
You saw what you
yeah,
just
and
did
then
with your hands, right? You were doing this, the
oh,
weatherwork thing. Yeah.
summoning it back. No, I'm summoning it back because yeah, I'm just remembering it, and beautiful tree over here, and Candace was behind the tree, and when I would lean on the tree, there was like all these kind of like little green things, moss and stuff, and like after shots, Candace would come and just like take them off my coat. There was just so much care
Yeah.
and love in it. And with Lynn, Lynn, um, I really love to look people in the eyes when I'm working with them, when I'm acting. I wanted to take them and
Yeah.
I want to see what they're giving me, and vice versa. And Lynn always shows up for that. And I don't know what it's like for her on her perspective, but for me, it was just like I could feel that we just lock in,
Yeah.
and then it's like, yeah, whatever happens is gonna be fine because we're both present and we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And although short, I think we filled it with everything that we've lived with these characters, the histories of what we experienced, and tried to give those words that fullness. So for me, it was such a treat. I was so happy to be back on set. So happy to get like a little moment with Nicte,
Yeah.
and then to say bye to everyone. I really wanted to, but we didn't have time. With makeup, we talked about putting like lipstick on my teeth
Yeah.
for like once we'd gotten Lynn's shot on the reverse. But like for me to do the scene with like lipstick on my teeth the whole time. But then they came to me and they're like, Arlen, we don't have time. Like, that's fine. I was like, it's fine.
Damn it.
It's like, I would love, because I bet Lynn would just have gone through it, but we would have caught a little moment of her eyes just going, "Hmm?" She's a pro. So, but I just thought it'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's so serious. But
Serious, but also that
yeah.
scene had so much like it had that like gentle comedy that I think
Yes.
you really were, and continue to be beyond Motherland. Just you're a very strong comedic performer as well as being a very strong dramatic performer. So like I love the way that you do like lace that together so nicely. And that scene is like the perfect example of that, because it's serious, but your approach to it, it just like it made me smirk when you sort of were like, I'm like, yeah, of course it did. Like, of course that's the way that Arlen and the way that Nicte would want that interaction to go, is to have that little edge of something funny in there.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
little bit of flirtation, a
Yeah.
little bit of laughter, but also just like it's funny because Nicte like kind of feel like she three-quarter commits a
Yeah.
lot of the time
Mm-hmm.
in things that she says and things that she does, not things that she does,
Yeah.
and her actions, but like when she's talking to people, which tells you a lot about someone and actually how comfortable they are and
Yeah.
their mask. You're just like, oh, so we perceive that you're very confident, but you're never actually fully giving yourself in those interactions,
Mm-hmm.
unless she's with Tally, of course.
Yeah.
But not always either. It's just like,
I think like
let's go. It's
Tally,
okay.
I think it's very easy for people with Tally to, give themselves entirely over, sort of like we talked about last time, is that for, I guess with Nicte, if anybody else is putting up that resistance, she will put it up as well. Whereas
Oh
Tally's
yeah,
just
tenfold.
completely open. And so it makes it sort of gentler for Nicte to be able to do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And Tally also comes in with like actual genuine care.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, yeah. Beautiful lessons for life, right?
Yeah.
And
So
how
true.
we interact with people. And hello, our friend, our little
The
kitty
menace.
friend.
Yes.
Knock off with the lights. No, I'm kidding. Just like
Not again. There is still hope from the fandom for Motherland to have a new life.
Yes,
But
yes.
I would sort of love to know what your sort of best memory or, fondest memory from your Motherland journey is.
Oh, oh my God. Um, it's hard to pinpoint one because I connected with so many people on this show. Um, and I definitely shared very special moments with each person.
Yeah,
So I think in like a not indirect, but I think for me, when you're able to really connect with someone, that moment when people get to see each other and be honest with each other and be kind of vulnerable with each other, those are like the ones I treasure, and I definitely had a lot of those.
yeah,
Um, and came out with some gorgeous friendships. And there's such a beautiful feeling of like whatever you want to call it, it can be family, whatever, but unity of like a little crew. And uh, I will remember that forever. And I think that that is mirrored in the fandom as well.
yeah, absolutely.
So that is such a beautiful, that's incredible about what we do. Because it's people connecting with each other, you connecting with them, us being on the other side of the world, like
Yeah,
all those things. Um, and the opportunity also to go to fan cons that you can connect with the show, and then people love the show so much, and then people travel you to connect with. I'm
yeah,
just like, world is so weird.
it is. Where
Hmm.
do you think that after the show has ended, after, you know, the world has changed, the Motherland world has
Hmm.
changed, where
Hmm.
is Nicte? What is Nicte's next move in that world?
Um, I was kind of asked this, and I love this question because I think there's a lot to dig into.
Yeah,
Um, and because I think there's so much to be discovered for every character in
yeah,
this series. So she, from what we can see, is supposed to be hanging out or like working for Wade.
yeah,
And yeah, President Wade.
mhm,
And um, but yet she still has this whole army of the spree.
yeah,
And also everyone is now a witch.
yeah,
So from what we've seen from Nicte, she usually is like reacting to the environment that she's in. So first it
mhm,
would be like, what is happening with the world?
yeah,
Now that everyone's a witch, what happens with the morality of the spree? What happens with the morality of the army? Because if everyone is a witch now, then who enlists in the army?
mhm,
We're kind of getting closer to what we're experiencing in the world currently right now. Like, who
absolutely.
are the people that we see going into the army? It's not usually like rich, affluent folks.
Yeah,
It's usually people who can
you don't really have
and
another choice in a
we
lot of the matter.
of their choice,
Yeah,
or also are like can get health care,
hmm,
um, a chance at some form of education. Um, so I have a lot to say about the military complex. But now we get into different layers of that for
yeah,
witches and for humans to be like, okay, because the whole spree has been about you having a choice,
yeah,
right?
hmm,
Um, and we just talked about that not having a choice, like circumstantially, economically, and all that. So I think those power dynamics will come into play, and everyone will be discussing, I think, what Nicte had been proposing for the longest time. So I
hmm.
think there'll be a kind of like a kind of like sitting back, being like, oh yeah, oh oh you don't want to go. Oh, I got that, got that.
Mm,
You want to stay home and barbecue? That's fair. Cool, cool, cool. Well, okay. You want to have a child hang out with it? Oh, really weird. So I
mm,
think there'll be a lot of like, but then I also think it'll bring a lot of like, um, yeah, I've murdered a lot of people,
yeah,
and and I did the thing that I did not want to do. What does this mean now? So there's so much opportunity for growth.
yeah,
Um, but will it happen right away? No, because maybe she'll be like riding on the waves of like, I told you so.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, now like Alder is quote on maybe kind of gone or not. The
Hmm.
unit is gonna, I don't know what the unit's gonna be doing. But Nicte's main real connection in the world is Tally. Tally is the
Hmm.
biggest connection, like genuine connection where she feels seen.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, I think Nicte definitely felt seen within the spree. But
Yeah.
those were people following her,
Hmm.
just different than someone who's like literally on the other side. So
Yeah.
I think that she'll definitely be keeping tabs.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of like anarchy. It's like chaos,
Yeah.
which Nicte loves.
But like I think that's sort of like a lot of, I know there are a lot of opinions in every direction about the ending,
Hmm. Hmm.
that was for season 3, but what I did love the most about it was the chaos of it, like leaving the
Mm.
world in a
Hmm.
different type of turmoil, if you know what I mean, because
Yes,
it's completely unknown and it does leave room for the Nictors of the world, but also it leaves room for the Hearsts of the world to do terrible
absolutely.
things. So
Yeah, absolutely. And
you know,
people learning, like not knowing how to master their powers or not knowing how to, and also
exactly.
people having power. Because when people have power, it can really shift you.
Yeah. And it's very
So,
much like, which direction will most people go, right?
no pun intended.
Mm.
Sorry.
Like
Sorry.
I think like the thing that I've always loved the most about Motherland is the morality that we
Mm,
got to see played with and twisted in a way that really is so uncommon. You know, we got to
mm,
see beautiful representation in the show. We got to see a fantastic story, but we did at its core get to see sort of a philosophical debate. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
the last little thing I want to touch on for you is sort of what um parts of the Motherland, like ethos, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but the uh yeah, philosophy, would you sort of say you are carrying with you, you know, beyond the show?
Mm. Um, well, I mean, I did feel connected to the spree.
Yeah.
Um, and I I do feel connected to, and I think like as I grow and as I kind of come into whatever, I mean, I never think we reach destinations with people. We're always like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's really possible. But
Mhm.
it's gonna sound so cheesy,
Good,
but
as it should.
love is love is very powerful,
Yeah.
and obviously, um, when we are hurt, when the world, when lines are made that really destroy you, um, you do have to live out that pain, of course. You have to experience that. Um, but when you approach people with love, it's just there's so much more of a chance of shifting
Yeah.
than when you approach people with um, your anger and hate. And I completely understand why people want to have a space to experience that.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's the best way to actually achieve change. Like if you're thinking about what your goal is,
Mhm.
what you want to change in the world, I think there needs to be a space to try and lead with love. And I know that that's really hard. It's really, really hard. And so again, this is so cliche. Before you can actually approach others with that love, like you also have to give yourself that space and
Yeah.
that care and that what we don't get. Some people are hurt when they're little. Some people don't get
Yeah.
those really the validation, the love, the care that they deserve when they're developing. And then
Yeah.
later we're looking for it either in love and in how we pursue the world. We're kind of like all those walls. So Nicte is someone who went through so much um and was then demonized and ostracized. Yeah, I think that ostracizing people doesn't actually solve anything.
Hmm.
Um, no matter what they've actually done, it's if you have to break the cycle of violence and pain.
Yeah.
And if we continue perpetrating that in the way that we punish and all, like, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
And that's ancestral. That's like years, centuries of trauma. So, and sometimes it takes actually approaching something with care to really shift things, and that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what I've come back with that. Yeah. So many lessons. So many lessons. Don't take yourself too seriously, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
But I don't know, like I think that the concept of leading with love and of approaching difficult situations with kindness and with
Mm.
care for the person who you're in conflict with is something that
Mm-hmm.
is so complicated. And, I think it's something that you have to learn to do. I don't think anybody's ever inbuilt with the ability to
Mm-hmm.
go, I'm in conflict with this person, but I'm also going to be kind. Like you
Mm-hmm.
see it in kids when kids say something hurtful. They're not doing it
Yeah.
because they want to be mean. They're doing it because they genuinely
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to do it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that, I don't know, for me personally, I felt very connected with Nicte as a character. And I think that a lot of people did. It's why, it's why the Batcave exists. It's why a lot of the fans genuinely grabbed Nicte and sort of tucked her into their hearts. Because she was, made to be a villain when all she wanted was change. And
Yeah.
maybe she didn't approach it in the right way, but
Mm-hmm.
that is just what she wanted ultimately. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that I like to sort of not speak on behalf of the fans, but provide a voice for the people who don't get to talk to you guys
Mm-hmm.
directly. And so from their hearts to yours, thank you for being Nicte. Thank you for being a part of Motherland. And thank you for just being so gentle and so kind and so open to talk about this fantastic series and your involvement in it, because you are so loved, and anything that you do in the future, you will have all of your little bats and all of your Motherland fans right with you. So yeah, and I'll be there. I'll be there.
Thanks, Ange. Thanks.
No
And I
worries.
send that love right back to all of you. To all of you.
Okay, so I know this was much shorter. It's a little bonus chat.
Mm-hmm.
But so please follow Arlen across all of their social medias. You're just Arlen Aguayo-Stewart on most things, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Or like underscore Arlen or Arlen underscore some variation.
I'll link all of it in the description box. And also please follow me if you would like, for conversations about Motherland, conversations about Warrior Nun, conversations about diversity and queer media. And yeah, Arlen, thank you so much for the chat and for being so great, because I just think you're great.
Ah, you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.